Hey, it's Chris Liege Games. Well, that was a doozy of a last week and a half or so on crowdfunding, right? Am I right? I'm sore today. Not from backing, but also just from working out. Don't ever skip leg day. It will catch up with you, let me tell you. Interesting start of May here. Couple bigger names right from the get-go. And definitely going to be some heavy interest. But, as you'll find out in a day or two, May is not coming on as strong as April has, in case that helps you out at all. But there are some bigger names coming at the end of the month. But let's talk about this coming week first before we get into that. Let's do this. So first up, we're just going to go straight to it. This is Ra. In case you are not familiar with this game from 1999. Yes, that 1999. Not the price of the game back then, but the actual year that this Initiave set collection auction masterpiece came out. And let me be very clear, it is just that. But you'll notice that if you look at several of the older pages, the older versions, it's not as attractive to look at. And because of that, because that is the new way of things, we are getting this brand spanking new copy of Ra being launched through 25th Century Games here on Tuesday. So what do you need to know about it? Well, I'll have a review out on Monday of everything you need to know about Ra in case you weren't familiar with Ra in the first place. But the three things that I said earlier, I mean, it's a Initiave, it's set collection, it's auction, and it's pulling from a bag. So it's amazing. Spoilers. There you go. There's my review. But it's launching on the 3rd, and this is arguably, notably, the biggest game launching of the week. But what do you need to know about it besides that? Well, let's pull up the GameFound page. Let's go straight to it now that you've seen that it actually exists. Here it is. Here's the preview page. New artwork from Ian O'Toole. 7,500 people. If you want to get in on a free gift, whatever that is at this point, you can check that out as well. By following, you get a free enamel pin, essentially. So that's fine. And, I mean, it's doing Ra, folks. This is an amazing game. If you don't have an edition, if you don't have an auction game, you should consider it. It's that great. 2 to 5 players. Boom. Everything you need to know. That's all that's on the page. This isn't taking the game and making it any different necessarily, but it's making it a lot more aesthetically pleasing. And how do you feel about that? If you don't have a copy, and again, what is the price point going to be? Because these wooden pieces that you're seeing right here, one of these things is like literally massive. It's literally like 5 inches high and like 2.5 inches wide. So it's a solid chunk. But it's an amazing game. You should have a copy. Everyone should have a copy. Anyway, that is launching on the 3rd. That is by far and away the biggest. The other big one, Euthia, with an expansion, and I'm assuming reprint, of this open world sandbox RPG strategy game, self-described as the evolution, the next in the line of the Mage Knights. You know, when Michael Jordan was around, everything since Michael Jordan has been described as, is he going to be the next MJ? Is he going to be the next Michael Jordan? You know, you saw it with Vince Carter, you saw it with Anthony Hardaway, you saw it with Kobe Bryant, you've seen it with plenty of people, you see it even now, comparisons LeBron James. I mean, that was the latest. This is, if you follow my analogy here, what people were always saying, what is going to be the next Mage Knight? Euthia. And now that it's been out, I have seen people split. Some people prefer Mage Knight still, but I have heard more than one person say that they prefer this over Mage Knight, and that's saying something from a solo game perspective. Now, I can't comment on the higher player counts because as Mage Knight often gets referred to as not a multiplayer game. Best at 1 by far. Okay at 2, only want to play with your enemies at 3 and 4. But this is offering more, and I mean, this is like the most RPG-esque game with the most amount of stuff. I mean, look at that picture of how much stuff you're managing and trying to keep track of. Now, again, do you need miniatures or standees with that? That's what you're going to get yourself included with, but this is also launching on the 3rd. Again, you can see now you're going to get a free mini expansion to go with it, and a lot of people love it. Like I said, this isn't just me making up words at the beginning of the video. I mean, I'm very good at that, but this is also offering a new expansion called Fierce Powers, and it's going to give some other additions that were well deserved and needed. Dual layer player boards, cardboard organizer, and Crawling Shadows expansion. So reprint, all the new stuff as well. and an ultimate bundle, which I can't imagine is going to be like under like $300 or $400 right there. But people are really loving it. So I remember when the creator had I think they offered it, Dia Games, on one of the Facebook groups I am on for people like, you know, in the media side of things. And I passed on it because I didn't think I was ever going to get played. And now I kind of regret it because I don't have Mage Knight either. And I just worry about hit to the table. And that's why I passed on it for when I was originally looking at this, when it went on crowdfunding originally. And when I saw that post, because it's one of those up here sounds good. It's one of those actually getting it out there is never going to happen, I don't think. Oh, and returning backers get a €10 discount in the Pledge Manager. So that's incentive enough. I wonder how much all the new stuff is going to cost, though. So either way, this has a huge following already. It's got 13, almost, well, a little over 12,000 people following it. Way more than even Ra. Almost twice as many as Ra, which is actually, if you would have asked me before I looked at these pages, I would have said insane. And that's what it is. But that's true. There you go. So what else do we got going? Because those are by far and away the two biggest ones. Next up is The Flood. This is a biblically based Noah Flood Ark resource management collection Euro style game. But the interesting aspect, they say, is 140, hang with me here, miniatures, question mark? You go over to the website here and you can get a good sense of a little bit of what you're going to be seeing content-wise. And like they say, you're going to be doing Noah, essentially. And gathering these resources, building what you need until the flood comes. And they're going to be using the hex-based system, it appears, to be able to then generate these resources based on also dice rolling. So again, how do you feel about how is that going to be implemented? But the hexes that you're going to be going onto are different shaped, as you can see here. And so that's also going to be very interesting to see how that happens. And again, a lot of stuff going on. So it really is more of a Euro side of things. And this is not insignificant amount of information that's on this board alone. Now, here are said miniatures. Again, massivature for the Ark. I don't know. I look at a lot of Euro games and I go, are the crowds going to really be interested in this? We literally just saw a week ago, when this launches, not a week from this video, an Anuki basically get canceled for essentially just that. For miniatures, or miniature heavy driven in a Euro style game. And so is this going to hold up? Is this going to be appealing? Are there going to be more than one pledge level offered in that sense, like several other games have done? I mean, I'm looking at even the Great Wall reprint on GameFound right now. Now, again, rumor has it the Meeple version will be coming to retail, and they're only offering the miniature version, but they went with it originally in a Meeple. And, I mean, frankly speaking, I'd rather have colored Meeples if I'm going to have the animals going on the Ark instead of plastic gray chunks. But maybe that's just me. There you go. That's The Flood. That's also launching on the 3rd. Also launching on the 3rd, Avalonia. An area control game with 4 phases where you have the options of taking anywhere from 6 different actions on your turn, trying to gather whatever is called pure bloods in order to obtain the most victory points at the end. It's definitely got a different aesthetic, sort of almost post-apocalyptic feel, although the title almost gives you more of an Knights of the Round Table feel. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, you've got these dual cards that obviously you're going to be choosing one and doing the other, I would think. Or maybe you're doing both. Now, interestingly enough, when you go back over to Board Game Geek, there are already a couple of playthroughs and how to plays from months ago. So you can check those out, but there's not a whole lot of written information as far as that goes in terms of a rule book or anything else. So apart from watching one of these videos, which I will provide you the link for below, you'll just have to wait for the launch on the 3rd. Also launching on the 3rd, I don't even know how to pronounce this. Keresis? Exploration, territory control, and resource management all rolled into one. Very similar, almost in a sense, to the previous game. Now, you have a hex-based system here, as you're going to be taking one of 5 separate actions that are available to you in the gameplay. And they describe them over here almost like a little bit of a 4X, but not really, because you're just taking one of these. Explore, resources, control territories or battle, summoning, or placing the amulets, and you need 4 amulets in order to win. Or 24 rounds. 24 rounds, that's an interesting number. Here you can see a little bit of the card play you're going to have at your disposal. Weaken your rivals with the help of this voodoo doll. Each tribe loses, I'm assuming that's maybe 3 energy. Okay, so you get a little bit of sense of what you're going to be doing there. And then obviously, I'm assuming these are some of the resources that you'll be utilizing. So again, the question is, a couple of these last games is what makes it stand out? What makes it different? So we'll see on the 3rd. Age of Steam Deluxe is offering new expansions 1, 2, and 3. 13 different new maps. How many new maps do you need? I mean, you know, at least with, you know, some of the miniature games I have, you know, you play a game of like 20 or 40 minutes and you can swap guys in and out and then, you know, that's about it. But 13 different maps on this classic, very well thought of strategic game with auctioning and network building. I mean, it's trains, right? And so I know this is very well thought of, and Eagle Griffin Games is going to be giving us more of that goodness on the 5th, but do you need more? I mean, that's the only question. I would assume with this is going to come a reprint as well. So if you missed it like the first or second time around, you can obviously check it out there. It's already got 1,100 people following. So there you go. Last up this week is a Pixie Queen. I believe this is a big box along with an expansion to go with this. Very interesting worker placement game. And you actually want to have the least amount of points in this game because the Pixie Queen treats your servants poorly, like a tyrannical dictator. And you're trying to gain the most influence with her by avoiding her wrath, essentially, is what it sounds like. Now, believe it or not, I mean, this is a beautiful looking picture, but the details of this game are very different because it says, literally right here, perform actions of your 4 action discs to maximize profits. This is the good part right here. A choice of no less than 21 different actions. For most actions, 2 action discs are needed, unless you can enlist the help of a pixie. I have no idea what that means. I have never even heard of this game before today. This is coming from Game Brewer. So, I mean, it's got a relatively respectable rating of 7.2 in 2017. So, it must have some following if you're going to put out a new expansion of Big Box. So, we'll see what it looks like. Color me intrigued, at least by the beautiful picture there on the Board Game Geek forums. So, there you go. It's supposed to be launching on the 1st, actually. So let's just go over to the over-unders from last week. The first one was Wayfarers of the South Tigers versus G.I. Joe Mission Critical. Well, Wayfarers won that one hands down. I don't even need to pull up G.I. Joe because it's obvious. Next up, over or under, Maul peak at 140K. The under has it. Next up, though, I got the first one right. I got the second one right. I got the third one wrong. Blade Rondo. Japanime Games, almost 90K. I didn't end up backing it. I looked at the rules. I just couldn't do it. I'm more Sakura Arms Exceed person, and that's okay. But they did great. So there you go on that one. And then Paradox Initiative. I really wanted to get this one. I just couldn't, though. And I said over or under 75K, and it was at 72. So the under was right there. And the last one was games breaking 250,000. And the answer was 2. And Anuki may have been close, but Wayfarers and Uprising Crystallized Emperor were both definitely over. I mean, look at this, just barely, but only 2. So there you go. Now, what are we going to do this week? You know, let's go back to Euthia here. Does Euthia break, let's go very adventurous, 400,000 in the first week. There are 12,000 people watching this one. And that's a lot of money as you saw the pledge levels. So we're going to say over or under 400K. I'm actually, you know what? I'm actually going to say over. I'm actually going to go over on this one. I think I'm going to be wrong, but I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go big. Let's go with Raw. Again, 7,000 people Raw. We don't know the price point. Let's put Raw at 200,000 over or under. And I'm going to go under, even though, again, I think it's going to be a smashing success. I just don't think there's going to be as many people. But there you go. There's 2. The Great Wall right now is at 537,000 euros. Let's put the over or under with 5 days left. Let's make it 625,000. And I'm gonna go under. You know what? We're going a lot under this week. And then Dark Quarter is killing it, almost $800,000. Man, that is really tremendous. Let's go 1 million. Can they break 1 million? I'm gonna go under, but not by much. And last but not least, we'll do Anastyr. Again, you know what? Let's do this. Anastyr versus the Great Wall, because the Great Wall is at 567,000 US dollars, 537,000 euros right now. So let's make it Anastyr or the Great Wall. I'm going to go Anastyr as the last one. There you go. That's it. TV time. I'm watching Designated Survivor. Now, not Designated Survivor, the American one. I'm watching the Korean one. It's a spin-off. It's a redo of it slightly differently there. And again, the political dynamics in Korea, especially in Japan, when it comes to things like this, are completely different than the Americanized versions of the dynamics. So it's very interesting from that aspect. It's not as good as I thought it was going to be, but so be it. I'm waiting for the stuff on Amazon. If you're not familiar with Amazon Prime, like stuff is bi-monthly. Sometimes they'll have like shows that are only available like each month that'll cycle in and out. So like I found one with like 3 days left that I was interested in, and then I watched like half a episode, and then I realized I'm gonna not be able to finish the first season, so then I just stopped watching it. Apart from that, I'm catching up on Bob's Burgers, did that. And let's see what else. Top Boy, intermittently catching that one on Netflix right now. I started the kids on Avatar: The Last Airbender. I know I looked at it, I said, okay, it's good enough. It's age appropriate enough now with almost 7 and over 8 that I'm comfortable with it. My wife was like, what's that? I'm like, it's fine. I've watched it, honey. I've watched the whole thing. It's okay. It's acceptable. So they're super, my 8-year-old, real into it. So that's good. I think we're going to make that like sort of a watch together thing as a bonding experience. And then I just picked up a copy of Octopath Traveler for Nintendo Switch from the library because they rent out those games. So the kids have Smash Brothers that they have been stomping through tons. They're not great, but they're getting slowly better. And I just started playing Octopath Traveler this week. So I'm about 2-3 hours in at this point as well. And then I got 2 hours of soccer games in the morning. It's going to be my whole morning. It's going to be a blast. It'll be fine. It's actually supposed to rain after our soccer games. So it'll be fine. And last side note, I think I'm going to be changing up the studio here. Like I said before, I'm going to be rotating it this way. So you see this wall is the back wall, hopefully, with like calyx behind me or something else behind me. I actually have 2 paintings, or not paintings, prints, that I'm going to try and have one of those in view at least. In addition to the calyxes. I gotta figure out how to do this though. My wife is gonna have to help me like rearrange everything, so we'll do that. And I got a few other things in mind, but it's just more execution from that aspect of things, because I want to put out a better product. I want to get more people watching me. I want to be more shelf side and Board Game Coffee rather than where I'm at now. I'm not gonna be Board Game Co. I mean, he has a cult following. I love him. He has a cult following. I'm never going to be that popular, but I want to rank it up a notch, so hopefully people are more interested. So hopefully, again, that'll be a little bit more appealing from that aspect. And I'm just working on it. Patreon below, again, help me, because one of those things is probably going to require me. I'm probably going to be looking at buying a second camera. So I have this one right now, and then the top down one too, because it's a lot of work trying to maneuver and that whole aspect. So that's about it. That's about it. I think this coming week is going to be mostly reviews. I will probably have the ones to look forward to for May, and then mostly reviews, because I've been delinquent on reviews because they take a little bit more effort and a little bit more work, especially from the B-roll film. So I need to do some B-roll this weekend and get a few of those made. Finished, I mean, is really what it is. Finished. So there you go. That's all I got. That's the roundup for what's coming out next week and where my thoughts are at. So it's a spicy end of April. Spicy. Where I ended up backing and not backing things in like a week or two is going to be very interesting, because it could be very expensive or not. We'll see. Stay classy. Have a great weekend. I'll see you around. Peace out.